Hey there, welcome back to another small ramble with me, writer and mental health advocate Tobe Allen. I'm also one half of the BARROW Podcast, the show I do with my mum, where we talk about divorce, dysfunctional families, and mental illness while writing our memoir together. I thought it was appropriate to do this one in the car today because on the latest episode, somewhere up here, I'm putting it, the latest episode of the show that we do, Mum and I discussed This House of Grief by Helen Garner, which is, of course, the non-fiction book about the Robert Farquharson case and trial. Basically, a man, a father, coming home on a return from Access visitation trip, drives his car into a dam with his three children, three sons, on the back seat of the car. Car goes in the dam, the three boys die. Farquharson swims out of the car to safety. The theory that the prosecution put forward is that this was a murder-suicide. Robert Farquharson was not supposed to live, but panic and natural instinct kicks in. He saves himself. The children die. One of the things that Mum and I talked about, and I find, as you know, if you've been watching these videos, then you know that I find family law, family court, access arrangements, all that kind of horrible stuff that we invariably must engage with when going through divorce and navigating families that are changing their dynamic, breaking up. One of the things that I find really compelling is the nuances of access visitations. I've spoken about it before. I've talked about what I've call access trauma. Don't want to make a big deal about the trauma, of course, but it's certainly there. It's certainly worth discussing. It's worthy of attention, I think. In particular, on the latest episode, we were talking about the precarity, the precariousness of the return trip, specifically the return trip. And this is something I experienced as a kid. I would go on Access and then you're driven to a new location and you are driven home from that new location. And what you consider to be home or not is also telling. I would say that my home was with my mother. My father picked me up. We went to his property. That was not home to me. And I was returned home at the end of the Access visit. But the return trip was particularly prickly. Precarious is the word I've used. Vulnerable. And I think it's one of those things. If you know, then you know. If you have been through this, if you have experienced these trips, they can be quite dehumanizing and quite scary. I was, as I said to Mum on the latest episode, I was not at all surprised or shocked to hear that with regard to the Robert Farquharson case, that this was a return from Access trip and that it occurred on Father's Day. I think that that is a lethal concoction, a lethal cocktail of animosity and other suppressed emotions that would lead to a father lashing out against his children. I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it again, but when children enter the family court and they go through these access arrangements and jump through the various hurdles of family law, they can be reduced to objects, they can become symbols of pain, and they can lose their humanity. So I was not at all surprised by this case, and I never for a second thought that Robert Farquharson was innocent. Now, he keeps appealing for retrials and making various appeals. One day I may be proven wrong, but until that day comes, I guessed right. And I am not at all happy that I guessed right. I don't revel in that. I don't celebrate that. In fact, I'm quite horrified by it. I'm saddened by the fact that I could look at a case like that and assume the very, very worst. But I am also somebody who has been in a car being returned from Access and feel pretty confident that the person behind the wheel is probably one comment or one beer or one more kind of personal failure away from driving into oncoming traffic. There is perhaps no more vulnerable position that you can be in than as a child with someone driving you. The driver of a car has got immense power and authority over the passengers in that car. I'm always actually surprised by how easily we just jump into taxis and Ubers and various things. We don't really seem to think about it. And yet it's we're giving this tremendous responsibility to a complete stranger. I've always been uncomfortable with taxis, and I would say that that goes back to access trips as well. Anyway, what do you think? Have you experienced this kind of thing before? Did you go on access visits? And how are those trips across town, to and from, being picked up and dropped off? How did that make you feel? Do you relate to this precarity that I'm speaking of? Does it make sense to you? And of course, if it does, and you like these kinds of themes and want to hear them teased out a little more, then come and check out the Barrow podcast. You can find further links and information in the description to today's video, as well as on the homepage to this YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.